Well, in less than an hour, Rupert Murdoch would appear before the House of Commons inquiry into what he knew about phone hacking by the News of the World and when he knew it. He'll be followed by his son and chairman of News International, James Murdoch, and the former editor of the News of the World, Rebekah Brooks. The head of the Metropolitan Police and his assistant, who both resigned in the past week, have already appeared defending their integrity and the closeness of their relationship with the media. Europe correspondent Philip Williams reports.
They didn't want to come, but in the end, the Murdochs and Rebekah Brooks decided it was an invitation they couldn't refuse. The big guns will be protected by big guns. Rupert Murdoch's extended family has gathered in London to support a man under pressure as never before.
I think he should undoubtedly be answering what did he know about the level of criminality within his organisation, why were payments made to victims if nobody knew what was actually happening, and why was the company so woeful in facing up to the scale of the problem and dealing with it promptly.
It's not just on this side of the Atlantic that he faces questions. Nervous and annoyed investors in News Corp in the United States are reportedly considering a coup after watching the value of their stock drop.
If Mr. Murdoch takes the fifth, if he says, I can't answer that question on the grounds it might incriminate me, News Limited shares are going to go into free fall because it's going to suggest that he's got something to hide.
James Murdoch too will face uncomfortable questions over his approval of payments to hacking victims.
Now, why would a chief executive do that unless they had been very aware of some pretty serious wrongdoing? So I think there'll be a lot of probing on that.
But this is not the only committee in town. The recently resigned Chief of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Paul Stevenson, and the head of the Anti-Terrorism Squad, John Yates, have fronted a separate committee looking at questions of police corruption and incompetence.
The counter-terrorism operations, the murder of Stephen Lawrence, major cases, they were priorities for me. Phone hacking was not.
Caught in the middle of all of this is the Prime Minister David Cameron, who's cutting short a tour of Africa to race back in time for a special session of Parliament tomorrow. He's under pressure over his close links to Andy Coulson, his former Director of Communications, now arrested over his time as editor of the News of the World.
I think the Prime Minister this is the biggest crisis he's had since he took office about a year ago. His decision to employ the former editor of the News of the World as his communications advisor was always controversial. So he always knew he was taking on, a risky moment there. What else was involved in that appointment? What other his contacts has he had with the Murdoch organisation over the last year? We don't know the full details of that. And on that, I think he will stand or fall in this saga.
So many caught in this hacking spaghetti junction. For one man, it's tragically over. Sean Hoare was a News of the World journalist who originally blew the whistle on dodgy practices. He was found dead at his house. Police say it's not suspicious, but unexplained. But all eyes are now on a select committee that would in normal times barely attract a distant glance. But you don't get witnesses like this every day. It may end up more theatre than substance, but it's part of the rebalancing of the power of Parliament over the press. Philip Williams, Late Line.